delight, soulmate. All right. So it starts, and then we're going to sing some of the words for just a bit, and then we'll get into the nigun. So it goes like this. Yedid
I love this image, Yedid Nefesh, our heart's delight, that is sort of a metaphor for Shabbat, that we are supposed to enter in to this time of Shabbat with a sense of delight, of oneg as well, which is what we celebrated a little bit with Tracy and her family and friends. A bit of oneg, a bit of delight as we welcome Shabbat and delight in the opportunity to rest and reflect, to rejuvenate and rejuvenate.
Oh.
Get it?
Got it.
As we celebrate Shabbat together as a community. We'll continue our service with kindling our Shabbat lights on page 2. I want to invite up the family of our bar mitzvah this weekend, our bar mitzvah student, Josh Doctorow. So call up his family, his mom and dad, Sarah Munson and David Doctorow, Justin Doctorow, Sarah Doctorow, Eileen Doctorow, Myra Munson, Janie Munson-Odgers, Cheryl Polan, Kelsey Reno, Martha Rutherford Munson, Stephanie Shanoni, Judy Zevin, and Roxanne Zevin. And of course, Josh, you're up here somewhere. Oh, there you are. Hi, Josh. Page 2.
Here you go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. All right, we are on page 5.
Page 5 for Kiddush. I'm gonna undo the grape juice here.
As the sages of old used to do, we removed the ceremonial plastic wrap.
The ceremonial saran wrap. All right, that one's for you. All right, Josh is going to lead us in Kiddush, page 5.
1, 2, 3.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagaven. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu u'shabbat gadol ve'ahal ratzon hinhilanu zikaron v'maaser bereshit ki hu yom tehillah le'mitzrayim kodesh ze'iner v'tzilat mitzrayim ki banu v'aharta v'yatanu kidasha migol ha'amim v'shabbat kodecha ve'ahava u'ratzon im chazanu.
Will that come up a little higher?
Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
I'm
That's fun. It's fun to have the third in a family of 3. Because Justin, you're looking tall. Sarah, you too. Sarah, you too. All right. Okay, it is my honor to offer a blessing tonight to one of my absolute favorite people. And I bet when I tell you who it is, you'll think to yourself, oh yeah, she's one of my favorite people too. So, all right, drum roll, please. Thank you, Russell. Today, we celebrate the 80th birthday of the one and only Janet Jan Iltis. Ah, yes, indeed. Well, Janet, stay seated for a while, because I'm going to say some nice things about you, and then I'm going to invite you and your family up for a blessing. But she's over there, right back there, sitting next to Emmett. Okay. Janet was born on August 30th, exactly 80 years ago, today, 1944, in Chicago, Illinois, and lived there for most of her life. Until 4th grade, Jan lived in a hotel in South Chicago with her parents, her brother, and her grandfather. Isn't that cool? In a hotel. They had a 2-bedroom apartment with Jan sharing a room with her brother, John, and her grandfather in the other room, and her parents sleeping in the living room. And she had such fond memories of living there. It was a bustling place to live. And she especially remembers her grandfather and his best friend, who she knew as Uncle Jack, playing poker with the other gentlemen, and of the two of them walking everywhere around Chicago. She said that living in that hotel was so much fun, and some of her most fond memories were formed there. The hotel had all kinds of interesting people living there, including the man who invented the Polaroid camera. And in fact, Jan said that she was the subject of one of the very first Polaroid pictures ever taken. I looked on Wikipedia, and you must have been about 4 years old when that was taken. So before fourth grade, right before fourth grade, her parents moved them to Evanston, where she lived through her college years. And Janet went to Bradley University in Peoria, Illinois, to become a speech pathologist, a career path that she knew from an early on that she wanted to pursue. And although Peoria was really different from Chicago or Evanston, you won't be surprised to hear that Janet loved it. She even spent a couple of summers there enjoying the country with her college friends. After college, she moved back home and began working as a speech therapist. In 1968, she married Jack, and a few years later, they were expecting their first child. Well, it turned out that she was expecting her first and second child, when, as a surprise to everyone, especially Janet, she had two little identical girl twins. So they were living in a small place on the south side of Chicago, and after her parents passed away, they moved into her childhood home in Evanston. Janet remembers taking the girls on an epic adventure to Europe when they were young. She was always up for an adventure, and she still is. Janet has friends and family all over the globe and makes it a priority to keep in touch with all of her loved ones. Some of you might have noticed that our Ark curtain has some Hebrew writing on it. The words come from the Torah portion known as Netzavim, which we will read in a few weeks' time, and also again on Yom Kippur. In this portion, it has the words that are printed on our ark that say, Uvacharta b'chayim laman tichyeh ata v'zarecha, which means choose life so that you and your offspring shall live. Choose life. When I think of this commandment, I think immediately of a person like Janet Iltis. She's just the kind of person who chooses life, literally squeezing every drop out of life. If there is a cause worth fighting for, Jan is all in. If there is a class or some kind of interesting opportunity, Jan is all in. And most of all, if her family or friends need her, she is all in. And so, a few years ago, after living her whole life in Chicago, Janet moved out to California to be close to her daughter Stephanie and her grandsons Henry and Emmett. And she didn't just join Beth Am. Janet sort of took Beth Am by storm, you know? To know Janet is to love her. She is open and warm, and it's impossible not to fall in love with her from the moment you meet her. She has become so active in our community, it seems like she's been here for decades. Janet is on our Beth Am Women Board. She's active with NCJW and Hadassah. She became an adult bat mitzvah and chanted from the Torah last year, and she spends her time kvelling over her beautiful family. So I'd like to now bring Janet up with her family so that I could offer her a special milestone birthday blessing. So come on up. Good. Oh, I guess Henry's probably away at school. Hi, Toby. All right, here comes our birthday girl now, escorted by her amazing grandson, Emmett. Mazel tov. All right, so this blessing that I'm going to offer you now is a blessing that's going to come from all of us. It's known as the priestly blessing or the Birkat Kohanim, and it's threefold. So I'd like everyone, if you want, it's going to come from all of us. So go ahead and reach your hands out like this, as if you're putting them right here. And you two, please come on either side, and you put your hands on her shoulders. And this is the priestly benediction. See, everybody's waving at you. They're putting their hands on you. Okay, that's right. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. May God's countenance shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. And may God's face be lifted towards yours and grant you a life of wholeness and good fun and adventure and lots of family and friends and love. And together we say Amen. And before we finish with our special song that you might guess what it is, I just want to say that there's an expression in Hebrew that we sometimes say ad mea ve'esrim, which means until 120. But I think it's also sometimes said ad mea ke'esrim, which means it means like until 100 like 20. So I think I'm going to wish you ad mea ke'esrim, may you live to be 100 and have the strength of a 20-year-old all the way. So here you go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Janet. Happy birthday to you. Okay, let me give you it's good to see you. Thank you for coming out.
So we'll continue our service. From this place of joy, we welcome Shabbat into our midst with great joy and song, as if Shabbat were a bride, a special, wonderful guest, decked out in finery. We'll sing the words of Lecha Dodi, page 20, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Shabbat,
Traditionally, this was the part of the service where those who were coming from a house of mourning would walk into the service. And in part, it was a way of identifying who was struggling, who was coming from a place of mourning. And traditionally, the community would greet the mourners in our midst with the words, Hamakom yenachem etchem, betoch sha'ar avelei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May God, who offers comfort to those who are bereaved, offer comfort to you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. And so we'll continue our service together on page 28 with our prayer of community, the Baruch Hu. If you grabbed a cardstock sheet, I think it's number 4 on side A. Is that right? Roll into dark? No.
Roll in dark is 2.
Number 2 on side A. Our prayer for the evening, Ma'ariv Aravim. Roll into dark, roll into light. Page 34, we'll sing the words of the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
can be seated. And it's my honor to call up next week's bat mitzvah, Jocelyn Gold, to lead us in Ve'ahavta on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושינתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם אני אדוני אלוהיהם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיהם אדוני אלוהיהם
Continue on page 40, our song of freedom, our song of redemption, our song that reminds us that sometimes we just need to take a breath and feel that feeling of letting it go. Page 40.
יפדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. We sing not just our prayer of Shabbat, but our prayer of memory, recalling that Exodus, page 44.
Vishamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam brit olam. Vishamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת.
On page 46, I invite you to rise in whatever way you are able as we sing the opening meditation of the Amidah together, and then we'll take some time for our own private prayer. The words on the page go through page 63, but whatever thoughts or prayers are in your heart this evening, I invite you to say whatever you need to say. That is what this meditation is all about. We enter into prayer to say whatever it is we need to say. Page 46.
Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Oh, eternal God, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Oh, eternal God, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. We continue silently. Page 56. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amecha Yisrael u'tefilatam be'ahava תמיד עבודת ישראל. ישראל עמך אל קרוב לכל קוראיו פני אל עבדיך וחוננו שפוך רוחך עלינו ותחזינה עינינו בשובך לציון.
This morning we welcome the newest member of the Jewish people. And to mark this moment in her life and her journey, I want to call up Tracy Tat.
Talia.
Come on up. To offer a special blessing. She's going to say some things. I'm going to say some things. We're going to give you a blessing as well. You're even going to hold the Torah. It's going to be great. We'll see. Hi.
Okay.
So here you go. Actually, at this time, I'm going to open up the ark and ask everybody to please rise. Okay, here, go for it. Here, I'll hold this. You read that.
Shabbat Shalom.
Oh,
Of my own free will,
there you go.
Of my own free will, I choose to enter the eternal covenant between God and the people of Israel. I commit myself to the pursuit of Torah and Jewish knowledge. I promise to establish a Jewish home and to participate actively in the life of the synagogue and of the Jewish community. I commit to building a meaningful relationship with the state of Israel and its people. I accept Judaism to the exclusion of all other religious faiths and practices. I will be loyal to the Jewish people and to Judaism.
Tracy, you stand now before the commanding presence of the Torah, the Jewish people's most cherished treasure. It has led us on the way and guided us ever since we received it. It has been carried when we fled from destruction and during the times of our greatest rejoicing. So I now place the Torah into your arms. There you go. Got it? You got it. Take it to your heart as you now recite the words of the Shema, the words on the lips of the Jew until the final moments of life. It is the affirmation that has sustained the Jewish people since our very beginnings.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. May you find strength, Tracy, in this commitment that you have made. It is a joy to welcome you into the faith and the peoplehood of Israel. May you prosper in all your worthy endeavors, and may the works of your hands be blessed. So here, I'll take this. And now, just like before, we're actually going to all reach out and sort of symbolically place our hands on Tracy's shoulders as we offer you the words of the priestly blessing.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and protect you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
May the light of the Holy One shine on you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God's face always smile on you throughout your journey, wherever it may take you on all the long roads ahead. I hope you find sustenance and satisfaction in this journey that continues ahead. Mazel tov.
All right,
Thank you so
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
Thank you.
Woo. Siman tov, mazel tov, siman tov. Yehei lanu, yehei lanu, yehei lanu. Ulecho Yisrael, yehei lanu, yehei lanu. Ulecho Yisrael, yehei lanu, yehei lanu. Ulecho Yisrael, yehei lanu, yehei lanu. Ulecho Yisrael.
Good, thanks.
Nicely done, everybody. Nicely done. You can be seated. So tonight, as we maybe are bringing our white shoes and shorts out for one last spin before we put them away for the season, our speaker tonight will appreciate that reference. We have our very last congregant speaker of the summer, Ben Baum. Ben and his family, Heather, Hannah, and Jack, have been Bethel members for about 12 years, since enrolling their 2 kids in youth education and sending them to the JCC preschool. Jack became bar mitzvah this year, and Hannah became bat mitzvah 2 years ago. Ben began his Bethel volunteer journey with the Atid program a number of years ago, then moved on to the youth ed director search that brought Sarah Lowing-Cohen back to Bethel, so we have him to thank for that. Yay, yeah, truly, that was not facetious. He was on the Hebrew Reimagined Task Force, served as the first co-chair of the Youth Ed Parents Committee, then joined the Bethel board last year and the search committee that brought Rabbi Nambi to us, the board nominating committee, and now, along with Barb Balowski, serves as co-chair of the senior rabbi search committee. So it is my honor and delight to welcome Ben Baum up to our bima tonight.
And I might add, Rabbi Nemitov asked me to switch with him with last week's spot, so I find myself in the unenviable position of following Rabbi Nemitov rather than preceding Rabbi Nemitov. But I forgive you. Dear friends, I've always felt that one of the deeply humbling and somewhat intimidating things about appearing on this bima is that the Beth Am standard is you have to be highly intelligent, very musical, and often funny. But in my case, my wife Heather is the brains of the operation. I haven't sat behind a piano in 30 years, and after all, we have Russell Norman, who's the best. And if I make you laugh, well, that should be considered a happy accident. So let's begin. This week's portion is Parshat Rei, most often recalled as a moment when God places before the Israelites the choice between a life of blessing and curse. I'd like to hone in, though, on the requirements God makes of the Israelites to bring their full selves to the work of celebrating the festivals. The portion speaks with great joy of the 3 pilgrimage festivals of the Jewish calendar. 3 times a year, on the Feast of Unleavened Bread, Passover, on the Feast of Weeks, Shavuot, and on the Feast of Booths, Sukkot, all your people shall appear before the Holy One your God in the place that God will choose. They shall not appear before the Holy One empty-handed, but each according to their own gifts, according to the blessing that the Holy One your God has bestowed on you. As Rabbi Bradley Artson explains, the Torah presents a 3-fold series of descriptions of our commanded offerings. During our joyous celebrations, we must not come empty-handed. To celebrate in God's presence, one must not focus only on taking, not only on our own personal joy. To celebrate in the fullest sense is to harness our private triumphs to contribute to the repair of God's world. The second biblical qualification is that the offering we bring must be according to one's own gifts. That is to say that no 2 people may bring precisely the same thing. Each must bring an offering reflective of one's own special interests and passions, something that illumines our own uniqueness. These gifts should be, in the words of the Talmud, in accordance with one's own acumen. The third qualification is that the offering be according to God's blessing. Here one can see the Torah as recognizing that human individuality is a reflection of divine love and bounty. God's greatness is reflected not in some numbing conformity, but precisely in the stunning diversity of human character, interest, and talent. And so it is with Beth Am. In order to repair our shaken and frayed community, strengthen it, and ensure that it flourishes in the years to come, we will need everyone, and I mean everyone, to bring and to contribute their unique gifts to this temple, just as in Parshat Rei. The good news, and the theme of my remarks this evening, is that we have everything we need right here. We have everything we need right here, if we will only use it. It is true that we have big challenges and long-neglected breakdowns to address, but we also have rare and privileged resources at our disposal if we would summon them and work together to rebuild our Beth Am. We have a bounty of expertise, skills, funds, volunteers, network, wisdom, and experience, all that acumen that the Talmud speaks of in order to get the job done. To apply an observation about America to us from one of my favorite Jewish thinkers, President Bill Clinton. Well, okay, maybe in spirit. I'm really just checking to see if you're paying attention. There is nothing wrong with Beth Am that cannot be cured by what is right with Beth Am. But we have to get busy. We have to get moving now, and we have to get to work. Some, or maybe even many, in our congregation have been distanced, dampened, or even repelled from our community by the challenges and disappointments of these last few years. We're all responding in different ways. They are all understandable, maybe even justifiable, but they are not all productive. Disengagement does not serve our community, our clergy, our children, our fellow congregants or friends, or ourselves. Instead, we need to turn disappointment, frustration, fear, even anger into action and redoubled commitment. Beth Am, this unique and wonderful community, has loved all of us over the years, and it's time to love her back. Even as we may suffer strong differences and disagreements with others in our community, we can bridge that gap in 2 ways. One is doing. Get to work. Help repair Beth Am by getting busy contributing from your unique and personal storehouse of tools and talents. If you already do that, challenge yourselves to do more. Try to identify new areas of need in our congregation that you can address. Join a group or committee, help our youth ed team, engage in the visioning project, or join the board. If you're not sure where you're needed, ask our clergy, professional staff, or board. Believe me, we've got plenty of needs. One word of mea culpa here. Now, I know as a board, we haven't historically done a great job creating easy and well-publicized on-ramps to engagement and to volunteering more deeply within Beth Am. The recent painstaking efforts by board members Carmi Lyman and Kristen Yawitz found that we have over 100 committees, working groups, and interest groups at Beth Am, and very little governance or well-defined access points around those. This creates a burden on our small but mighty staff and uncertainty for our congregants. You should know that at our senior staff and board offsite just this past week, we have targeted closing this gap as a highest priority to address this year. We're working on an overhaul of guidelines, marketing, communications, publicity, the website and forms, overviews, and the like in an effort to make joining, creating, and operating groups and engagement with Beth Am in general simpler, easier, and higher profile. We also know as a board and a congregation that we must not only activate and inspire more engagement out of our existing members, but attract new members, especially young people and families. I am so grateful that in my first year of board service, I discovered that it is our seniors, our oldest cohort, who so often unselfishly are the first constituency to point out this growing gap as we become a disproportionately aged congregation. Many of you are eloquent and adamant that to ensure Beth Am's long-term future, we must be aggressive, innovative, and flexible in creating an offering that attracts these critical constituencies. To that end, the board is currently reactivating our Membership and Engagement Committee under the welcomed leadership of Tina Rosenblum, seeking new members for it and devising a roadmap for this year to uplevel those efforts. Friends, it is no secret that we are skewing very aged in both our congregational membership and our volunteer engagement. All of us seek diversity and inclusion in Beth Am activities, whether for the board, committees, or programming. But if we cannot entice younger constituencies from among our membership to grab their toolbox and join the volunteer effort, we will not achieve the broad variety of points of view and life experience that we seek. Just one current anecdote, I'll pick on my own cohort, busy working parents with kids. When we concluded the call for nominations for this senior rabbi search committee last week, despite extensive efforts and outreach, fewer than 10% of those who nominated themselves were under 60 years of age. We cannot go on like this. Now, I know this challenge is not unique to Beth Am. It's the existential problem of every Reformed congregation, even all houses of worship. But we are not an ordinary congregation. But there is also a second critical way we can bridge the gap of our differences and disagreements in the direction of Beth Am. Two is thinking. Change your mindset. I've learned from my first year of service on your board and in my many one-on-one listening sessions with congregants that truly what unites us is greater than what divides us. Specifically, we share at least three very common things. One, we really love this place. Two, we are always striving to do what we believe to be in Beth Am's best interest. Whether we sometimes get it right or sometimes get it wrong, our intent is pure. And three, we're deeply committed to it and are willing to put in the work, especially our clergy, professional staff, board, and lay leadership. But we have to do this together. It will be a long and arduous journey, but not without reward. As one of the best-known African proverbs goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. By jumping in and up-leveling our contributions to Beth Am, I believe we can accomplish two urgent tasks simultaneously. One, get the long-neglected work done that Beth Am so urgently needs. And two, while doing the work, come together as a tighter-knit, more understanding, more compassionate community, which better relates to each other and respects our differences, but appreciates all that each of us brings to this congregation. I'll tell you what worries me most, what holds us back, what we have to guard against. Speaking from my own past personal mindset and experience, as well as the many congregant emails I've read, comments I've heard, and one-on-one listening sessions I've conducted, I think it's very easy at Beth Am to revert to a kind of consumerist customer service mentality about what Beth Am should bring to you, as you would with any company you do business with. I pay my dues. I'm a member. I expect this or that service or experience. I want 5-star customer satisfaction. Myself, I've worked in retail, in sales floor businesses nearly my entire career, so I'm very familiar with this very American attitude. It's all around us, after all. But this isn't a for-profit corporation, and it doesn't operate or incentivize folks like one. We don't have customers. We don't even call ourselves a synagogue or a temple. We call ourselves a community. This is a volunteer organization built on the strength of volunteer efforts, freely and generously given by people who have day jobs, families, health issues, bills, and many other roles and priorities. Heck, even our wonderful clergy and professional staff, our most significant contributors to Beth Am, given the limits of what we're able to offer them in income relative to the cost of living here, they too should be considered committed volunteers for choosing us. And speaking of our wonderful clergy, what worries me most is the false notion that we are waiting to be restored by someone else, by our clergy, by our new interim senior rabbi, by our board of directors, a future board of directors, or a settled senior rabbi. As wonderful and capable as they all are, or will be, their efforts will not be sufficient. This is a disempowering, passive attitude that lets each of us off the hook for playing a key role in Beth Am's restoration. This is like saying that the doctor will heal the patient, but the doctor doesn't heal the patient. The patient's body heals itself under the doctor's guidance and support. Or as we Warriors fans like to say, it's like believing Steph Curry can save your season alone with no help from anyone else, and we know how that ends up. My friends, Moses is not coming. We have to do the work ourselves. We are the ones we've been waiting for. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? This is the customer service consumerist mentality about our synagogue that we have to break. As proof of this, I'll remind you that even in Rabbi Nemitov's address last week about the upcoming visioning work we will initiate, he made it clear that this entire journey will need to be lay-led, driven by, staffed by, and built through the efforts of the congregation, not the clergy. I know about this firsthand. When I myself was frustrated, disappointed, even angry about the direction of Beth Am, I thought about stepping back, stepping away, reducing my commitment to Beth Am. But then I thought, what the hell am I doing? Who would I be hurting? My community, the clergy, congregants in need, or my own family for whom Beth Am is an indispensable pillar of life and spiritual sustenance? I needed to move toward Beth Am and not away from it. I needed to turn my indignation into action. I had an old boss who used to say, when you find yourself thinking or saying, someone should do something about, well, that someone is you. We will only get the congregation we are willing to work for. Besides the high promise of the visioning journey that Rabbi Nemitov is bringing to us, our other highest priority is together finding our next permanent senior rabbi. I'm deeply humbled and very grateful to serve as co-chair with my new and dear friend, Barbara Lasky, who is an excellent choice, many of you know. What you need to know on behalf of Barb and myself is that the need for congregational engagement will apply here as much as anywhere. And our highest priority is to conduct this search with transparency, open-mindedness, inclusion, and integrity to the maximum extent permitted within the confidentiality of the process. My friends, we have to get busy. After years of actual and metaphorical deferred maintenance, there's a lot to do. We need a volunteer army. Finances, fundraising, grounds, programming, membership, engagement, security, governance, recruitment, and yes, healing. We need a lot, and it takes a village, and it's going to take a long time, perhaps years of commitment with patience and resilience, but it will be worth it. As Bill Gates observed, most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. We have to have the long view, but with the urgency to start now. If you need examples of what I'm talking about, Be like your fellow congregants who do the quiet, essential work that makes us better and fortifies our community. Like Jeff Berman, who year after year comprehensively organizes and coordinates our high holiday greeters. Like Buck Berkrinsky, who cooks 1,000 hot dogs for our youth ed kids at Purim and builds our sukkah and even brings his own firsthand Holocaust survivor story to our children. Like Toby Ellman, who has for years entertained and educated our children with wisdom and beautiful music. Like Ina Bauman, who dependably serves meals to the hungry and homeless at Hope's Corner. Like Ellen Ratner, a founding member of our security working group, who is constantly engaging members of our law enforcement community to help make Beth Am safer. Like Vivian Wildman, who coordinates our Mountain View Community Services outreach. Like Marussia Breeze, who leads the Orchard. Like Louise Sturp-Gill, who organizes Thursday Morning Minyan, and so many others. If we commit now, collectively and personally, to redoubling and deepening our efforts on behalf of this community, we can become what longtime members remember us to have once been, and what newer members dream of us becoming. A dynamic, welcoming, boundary-pushing, always challenging, vibrant, innovative, well-funded, and well-run house of joy, learning, worship, service, community, and meaning. The indispensable congregation, indispensable to the entire Reform movement, to our local community, to each other, and in our own lives. This can be the place where you belong. This can be your true sanctuary and no other. Won't you join us in this noble effort? Grab your toolbox of talents and let's get going. Remember, the good news is that we have everything we need right here. Shabbat Shalom, and may God bless this congregation.
Ben, I'm really glad that I went first. That was awesome. Thank you so much. Give him another hand. That was great. Ben talked about the needs of the congregation. He talked about how we're sometimes frayed and broken. Well, there are those in our world who are frayed and broken, and we need to bring healing to them as well. So if we can take a deep breath in and deep breath out, and let us take a moment and think about those in need of healing. Turn to page 253 for our Misha Barak prayer, our prayer of healing and of hope. As we do, we remember these friends of our community in need of healing. Jenny Anderson, David Ben-Ami, Arnie Brookstone, Diane Dannenberg, Mark Cohn, Ron Cote, Abigail Covert, Marty Gelman, Maurice Huppert, Aaron Levinson, Norman V. Martello, Leslie Peterson, Harvey Rabin, Bobby Rosenkrantz, Dorothy Sachs, Stefan Maximilian Sizer, Steve Shane, David Baruch Ben Simona, Nikki Sokol, Carol and Stephen Ware, and Larry Wertman. If there is one whom you're remembering who we have not already mentioned, we invite you to say that name aloud so that we might keep them in our prayers as well. For those named and for those unnamed, let us together pray.
To make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi Shebeh
even as we pray for Israel, for ourselves and for our loved ones. We also pray for Israel, recognizing that she too is suffering. We share this prayer, originally written by John Rossoff. Eternal God, receive our prayers for the peace and security of the state of Israel and its people. Spread blessing upon the land and upon all who labor in its interest. Protect your soldiers as they defend our people against missiles and hate. Protect the innocent among the Palestinian people, that they too may be safe and free from death and injury. Inspire Israel's leaders to both defend our people and follow the ways of righteousness and compassion. Remove from the hearts of our people fear, hatred, malice, strife, vengeance. May the Jewish people scattered throughout the earth stand strong in solidarity with the state of Israel in times of war and peace. May they be infused with the ancient hope of Zion. May our people be encouraged by the symbol of Jerusalem as the eternal city of peace. May the state of Israel, may the people of Israel be a blessing to all of its inhabitants and to the Jewish people everywhere. May Israel be a light to the nation of the world. As together we say, Amen. Lofty prayers that we recite, but it will only happen, as Ben said, if we do our own part. If we are God's partners in l'taken et olam, in healing the brokenness that we find in our world. So let us turn to page 282 in our prayer books, and let us rise as able for Elena, which says, God, let us be your partners in repairing the brokenness.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 287. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. We turn to page 294. As our prayers come to a close this evening, we think of those who are no more, family and friends who gave meaning to our lives. We remember them. Recall especially three who've been taken from our midst most recently. Marcia Ann Rosenbaum, cousin of Irene Lefton. Dorothy Wanamaker, grandmother of Rabbi Heath and Amy Wanamaker, and Michelle and Jeff Vandenberg, mother of Steve and Miriam Wanamaker, and great-grandmother of Ilan and Kayla. And Sonia Pavlenko, husband of Eugenia Pavlenko, brother of Emma Lukashevsky, and father of Felix and Helen Rosenwasser. Remember those for whom Shloshim is observed: Doris Dory May Rose, Nancy Rosen, Helene Rosenberg, Deborah Debbie Dorison, Lawrence Randall, Alan Freed, and Nathan Barron. Remember those whose Yuretsites occurred this time. We are going to begin with a list of some of the names from last week that we failed to mention, and we do apologize again for not mentioning them last week. Harold Pianin, Norman Price, Tilly Rich, Abram Rosenzweig, Mary Ruvalo, Leah Bela Safro, Betty Schechter, Ryan Schwartz, Felix Shapiro, Joyce Scher, Sam Spall, Joseph Silton, Eric Sobel, Raymond Spitalnik, Otto Spoler, Sariva Sue Stevens, Jacqueline Tucker, Sally Turk, Hannah Tsirlunikova, Sarah Unterman, Karen Watkins, Hannah Williams, and Jeanette Yavitz. And remember those whose yahrzeits are this week: Irving Abrams, Ruth Adler, Joseph Alper, Yvette Nord Alpert, Simon Ulster, Jack Alter, Paul Anderson, Ben Asen, Jackie Berman, Jacob Borsick, Chaim Brown, Aaron Chudnovsky, Rodney Kohan, Samuel Cutler, David J. Eisner, Bernard Ettinger, Max Fish, May Galinsky, Samuel Jim Giller, Julia Glassman, Arlene Gopin, Florence Gordon, Abby Gordon, Elsie Gould, Joseph Robert Green, Alexander Greenberg, Ruth Greenberg, Ernest Grossman, Paul Height, May Harrison, Kendra Hedblum, Lyle Henrik, Ralph Jacobs, Elsie Katz, Bill Kelman, Frida Kindman, Isaac Kosef, Stanley Kramer, Stanley Crome, Alec Kulik, Beverly Kurland, Howard Levin, David Levinson, Dorothy Levy Innerfield, Eve Lindauer, Helene Linson, Kay Luft, Pearl Meisner, Frida Meltzer, Peppy Murmelstein, Janice Mirbach, Morris Moskovich, Edwin Person, Boris Pevsner, Estelle Rudman, Sidney Roston, Molly Rusinovitz, Eugene Russell, Selma Sakowitz, Belle Sachs, Irene Shansky, George Shapira, Jason Schultz, Gerald Siegel, George Clark Silbert, Sidney Schneiderman, Louise Sturp, Margit Stewart, Henry Stolchinsky, Barbara Minuzu Tapper, Ralph Ticko, Gerald Jerry Norman Tuch, Edna Vespen, Sylvia Vogel, Lillian Weiss, Al Wolf, Selma Zenkman, Miriam Zuckerman. If there is one whom you are remembering who have not mentioned or a name that has been mispronounced, we invite you to say that name aloud so all of us can hear it and we can remember them as well. The memories of all of them are with us. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled. For those who are able, we invite in body or spirit to please rise as together we recite the words of Kaddish. Yitgedal v'yitgedash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad divrah chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam omei amaya. Yiparak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'tromam v'tnaseh, v'tadar v'talev dalal shemei kudashah b'richu. Leila minka birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechmata, damiram b'yama v'yimru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'romav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May God, who makes peace in the highest of heavens, may God make peace for us, for Israel, and for all humankind, as together we say, amen. Please be seated. Friends, it is said in our tradition that one gives tzedakah in memory of those who are no more. We do so because we want the world to be better, because our world was better when our loved ones were part of our lives. And so we try to continue that work, and at Beth Am each month we choose a cause that we ask our community to support. This month we choose a cause in Israel, and as for those of you who have been to services before, you know that our cause is Kehilat Birkat Shalom, a Reformed congregation at Kibbutz Gezer in the central part of Israel. Birkat Shalom has been doing some really important work surrounding October 7th. Specifically, 3 projects. They've been recruiting and paying for therapists to provide services to soldiers and civilians, including many children who continue even now suffering from PTSD. They secure for and pay for housing for injured soldiers during the recuperation. And they arrange for decompression days for soldiers returning from Gaza and the north. These are important projects, and we hope in these last day or two of August you'll consider supporting them. We have a tzedakah box back there. You can also Venmo us at Beth-Am, or you can send a check or even give us cash. We'd love to, or you can charge it to your account. We'd love to have you. Just find a way, though, to support this important cause. Thank you. And now we're going to conclude our service by saying, Od Yavo. There will be a time of peace and hope, and it's on page 353. And if you'll turn to it, and let's get our diaphragms working. We rise, embody your spirit. Let's join in singing Od Yavo.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Salam.
Okay, Josh, that's yours. Not the whole thing, but yeah. One of the 3 of you pick it up. Pick it up and no, just hold up the challah. Just lift up the challah. Ready?
Baruch atah Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.